In this chapter, we are going to talk about income statement and related information. The first one is income statement. Income statement, it is a report of a company's operating performance over a specific period, and it shows profitability and provides useful information for investor and creditors to assess investment value, credit worthiness, and to predict future cash flows. The next one is the usefulness of the income statement. The usefulness of the income statement, the first one is to evaluate the past performance of the company. The second one is to provide a basis of predicting future performance of the company. And the third one is to help assess the risk or uncertainty of achieving future cash flows. In summary, the information presented in the income statements assists users in assessing a company's past performance. With the usefulness of the income statement, here is the contra or the limitations of the income statement. The first one is companies omit items from the income statement that they cannot measure reliably. The second one is income numbers are affected by the accounting methods employed. And the third one is income measurement involves just judgment. The several limitations of the income statement reduce its usefulness in predicting the amount, timing, and uncertainty of future cash flows. Next, we are moving to talk about quality of earnings. The quality of earnings is something that reflects how reliable and sustainable a company's reported income is. High quality earnings are supported by real cash flows and accurately represent true performance of the company in the past accounting cycle. However, earnings management, such as shifting revenues or expenses to meet targets, can reduce earnings quality by distorting financial information and making future performance harder to predict.
My name is Pio Raditya Sukiono with my last NPM number 175, and now I'm going to talk about components of income statement. There are two major components of income statement. The first one is income, where income is increases in assets and decreases in liabilities that result in increases in equity. And then we have expenses that decreases in assets and it increases in liabilities that result in decreases in equity. And then we are going to talk about the intermediate components of income statement. Company usually presents some or all of the intermediate components in their income statement, namely sales or revenue section, cost of goods sold section, gross profit, selling expenses, administrative or general expenses, other income and expense, income from operations, and then financing costs, income before income tax, income from continuing operations, discontinued operations, net income, non-controlling interest, and also earnings per share. And the detail will be explained by my friend.
Okay, the next one is about gross profit. Gross profit is computed by deducting cost of goods sold from net sales. So this disclosure of net sales is useful because report of regular sales revenue as a separate item. So we can close unusual and incidental revenue in other income and expense, and the analysis can be more easily understand and assess. Similarly, the report of gross profit provide a useful number for evaluating performance and predicting future earning. Statement writer may study the trend in gross profit to understand how competitive pressure affect profit margin. Next one is about income from operation. So income determined from operation by deducting selling and administrative expense, as well as other income and expense from gross profit. Income from operation highlight items that affect regular business activity, as such it is a metric often used by analysis in helping to predict the amount, timing, and uncertainty of future cash flow. So we know that for to determine the income is by deducting selling and administrative expense, and there are two expense classification. The first one is nature of expense. So we list the expense by their nature, like staff salary, supplies expense, advertising cost, and etc. The second one is function of expense. So the second classification is about the function of expense. For example, selling expense included as sales staff salary and etc. The next material is about income before tax. So income before tax compute by deducting interest expense, often referred to as financing costs from income from operating. Under IFRS, company must report their financing costs on the income statement. The reason for this is requirement is to differentiate between a company business activity and its financing activity. In most cases, the financing cost involves interest expense. In other situations, company offset items such as interest expense against interest revenue. The next one is net income. Net income represents the income after all revenue and expense for the period are considered or disclosure. It's if it is viewed by many as the most important measure of a company's success or failure for the period. Income tax is reported on the income statement right before net income because this expense cannot be computed until all revenue and expense are determined. In practice, understanding how the company arrived at the income tax of the period is very important. The next one is earning per share. A company customarily sums up the result of its operation in one important figure, net income. So, however, the financial world has widely accepted an even more distant figure as the most significant business indicator, earning per share (EPS). So, the computation of earning per share is usually straightforward. Earning per share is net income minus the preference dividend, so the income available to the shareholder, divided by the weighted average of ordinary share outstanding. So shareholder having the share of the company. The financial press and security analysts almost highlight EPS because of its importance. Company must disclose earning per share on the face of the income statement. So as as I give you in the pic picture in the like below, this is the calculation to earn per share. Net income divided by preference dividend and divided by weight of ordinary share outstanding. The next one is discontinued operation. One of the most common types of unusual item is discontinued operation. The ISAB defines a discontinued operation as a component of an entity that either has been disposed or is classified as held for sale. And for other definition is represent a major line of business or geographical area of operation. The second one is part of a single coordinated plan to dispose of a major line of business or geographical area for operation. The third is a subsidiary acquired exclusively with a view to resell. The next one is intra-period tax allocation. Company report discontinue operation on the income statement net of tax. The allocation of tax from this item is called intra-period tax allocation. That is allocation with a period. Intra-period tax allocation help financial statement user better understand the impact of income tax and the various components of net income. Operation This approach should help users to better predict the amount, timing, and uncertainty of future cash flow. Company use intra-period tax allocation on the net income statement for the following action. First is income from continuing operation, and the second one is discontinue operation. So yeah, the general concept is let the tax follow the income. The last material is about non-controlling interest. Non-controlling interest is the proportion of equity net asset interest in a subsidiary or not attribute to the parent company. Allocation of net income or loss divided between two classes. The majority interest represented by the shareholders who own the controlling interest, and the non-controlling interest, like the example on the right. The net income is divided by two interests. First is shareholders, and the second one is non-controlling interest.
For the next materials is about accounting changes and errors. A company can change its accounting principle. Example is from FIFO method into an average method, because sometimes the new method is considered better in some aspect. But in doing so, a company must make a retrospective adjustment to the financial statement. Retrospective meaning looking back, so that the company have to adjust their previous financial statements to match the new method. Such an adjustment recasts the prior year's statements so that they are consistent with the newly adopted method. In here, we have an illustration. A company in 2022 changes its method from FIFO into average method. As you can see in the picture, they also have to change the financial statement that's stating their income in previous years to match the new method. The company recasts the prior year's income numbers under the newly adopted method. This approach therefore preserves comparability across years. The next is changes in estimate. It's actually different from changes in principle. They don't need to change the previous financial statements because a company accounts for estimate changes prospectively, which means in the period of change, if they affect only that period, or in the period of change and future, if the change affects both. Such changes are not carried back to adjust prior years, and changes in estimate are not considered errors. Then the last one is correction of errors. Correction of errors are treated as prior period adjustments, similar to changes in accounting principle. Companies record a correction of an error in the year in which it's discovered. They report the error in the financial statements as an adjustment to the beginning balance of retained earnings. If a company prepares comparative financial statements, it should restate the prior statements for the effect of the error.
So it's my turn to explain about retained earnings statement. So when net income made retained earnings increases, when a net loss made retained earning decreases. Cash and share dividends make retained earning decreases, but a prior adjustment may increases or decreases. So it depends. So as you can see guys, I already give you example from Choi Ltd. For the inventory error, make it increases as adjust, so it depends. And for the additional net income, make it increases, I already give a green sign. And then for cash dividends and share dividends make it decreases. And then for the last calculation, it's 1,160,000. And then retained earning can be restricted to contracts. Unrestricted retained earnings, it's available for dividends or general purpose. And for the restricted one, it's set aside for special purpose. So next we're going to talk about comprehensive income statement. So comprehensive income include all change in equity during a period except investment by owner and distribution to owner. Revenue and gains, expense and losses reported in net income. Gains and losses that bypass net income but affect the equity. Items that non-owner in change equity that bypass the net income statement refer to other comprehensive income. So comprehensive income statement divided by two displays. The first, the single continuous statement or one statement approach, and the second to separate the first net income and then the other comprehensive income. It's called two statement approach. So as you can see, one statement, it's only one statement until comprehensive income. For the two statement, they are divided by two parts. The first, they are calculated until net income, and the second statement is calculated net income until comprehensive income. So guys, this is the example of statement change and equity. So for the retained earnings, other comprehensive income, and share capital, it's divided by their own column, and then for the total, it's on the left side column.